Welcome, welcome to another segment brought to you by Healing Hearts to Heal. I am Miss Ayana Meeks, CEO and founder of Healing Hearts to Heal. And I just want to say thank you for joining us today. Hopefully, the information that I share will be useful tools and tips to help you. I want to also say thank you to Mr. McCowan, the CEO and founder of WeServe, for his partnership with Healing Hearts to Heal. We are so excited to be a part of this wonderful, wonderful opportunity to share much needed information. So at this time, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you all so we can get started on today's segment. I'm going to get the PowerPoint going. Wonderful. All right, so today's session is entitled Rational Thinking / Good Decision Making. So we're going to dive a little bit into that. Just to introduce myself, more about me. Healing Hearts to Heal was founded September of 2021 in the state of North Carolina. Healing Hearts to Heal is a nonprofit that focuses on healing of the whole body, mind, and soul. I hold a master's of educational, a master's, degree in educational counseling, and I'm also currently a middle school counselor here in the state of Virginia. I have been a counselor for 8 years, and prior to that, I did a lot of work in the social services, working with children as well as adults. All right, so we're going to go ahead and dive into today's session, rational thinking / good judgment. Our learning objectives today is hopefully that you'll walk away understanding the meaning of rational thinking, also understanding the difference between logical and emotional influences on decision making, and then to be able to understand the process of making good decisions. So we're going to start by talking about what is rational thinking. So rational thinking, decisions that are based on reason rather than emotions. Please excuse the typo. What is reason or reasoning? And that just simply means the power of the mind to think, understand, and form judgments by a process of logic. Okay, and I've highlighted some key words there. So what is logic then? Logic is a method of reasoning that involves a series of statements, each which must be true if the statement before it is true. So rational thinking is going to involve reasoning. It's going to involve logic, okay? It's also going to involve, thinking, understanding, and then forming judgments. And it's a process, okay? All right, so there are 3 states of mind. And so I kind of gave you 2 ways to look at this. I gave you 2 different diagrams here to think about these states of mind. So the first state of mind is we're going to talk about is emotional, the emotional mind, okay? And so in our emotional mind, emotions control how you act and react the majority of the time. Your thoughts are all over the place and you can't focus. When we're in an emotional mindset state, your behavior and even your personality seem to change with your emotions. You can become overwhelmed by strong emotions. You get upset by your emotions and feelings. Strong intuition and gut feelings are all within that emotional mind state, okay? Lots of empathy and compassion. okay, are all working in that emotional state of mind. When you are in a reasonable state of mind, okay, you are more rational in your thinking and it's based on facts with no thought to anything else. Also seeing situations from a removed point of view. So disassociating from the thing and being able to kind of like look at it from outside of the situation. Also keeping eerily calm while dealing with problems most people would be upset by. Okay, so you're in a reasonable state of mind. You're not in this emotional state. So you're in a more calmer state than most other people would probably be in that situation. You're also going to be able to see a situation from all sides. Okay, you're also able to weigh the pros and cons when you're in a reasonable state of mind. And then also thinking about cause and effect. You know, if I make this decision, what's going to be the effect if I make this choice? Okay. If you look at the other diagram, emotion mind is hot, mood dependent, feeling focused. So in an emotion mind, we are ruled by our moods, feelings, and impulses to do or say things. Facts, reason, and logic are not important when you're in emotion mind. When you're in reasonable mind, we're looking at the other, the purple diagram there. Reasonable mind is cool, rational, task focused. In reason mind, we are ruled by facts, reason, and logic. Values and feelings are not important when you're in that reasonable mind state. Next, we have wise mind. Okay, so we're going to look at the white diagram, red and white diagram, and that's making decisions from a place of both feeling and logic. Okay, so kind of in the middle, and that's what that second diagram, that purple diagram, is showing when you're kind of in the that middle range. Okay, feelings are going to be grounded, incorporating intuition, that gut feeling, and then examining automatic learned behaviors. Okay, you're going to allow for good boundaries to be set when you're in a wise mind. Okay, use wise mindset, doing what is for your highest good on all levels. Also doing what feels good for the big picture. Okay, not just for yourself. And then you're also going to slow down and resist the urge to be impulsive in behaviors when we are being wise when it comes to our decision making. Okay. And then on our purple diagram, wise mind is the wisdom within each person, seeing the value of both reason and emotion, and then bringing left brain and right brain together. Okay. To a middle path, okay? And we know that each side of our brain controls our emotions and our ability to reason, logical thinking, okay? All right, so let's look closely at logic versus emotions. All right, so there are two competing thought processes that drive decisions, okay? Logic and emotions. Although the two can occasionally be intertwined, deciphering whether your choices are made by logic or emotion can be an important part of ensuring that you're making the best decisions for your long-term satisfaction, okay? All right, so according to Psychology Today, most decisions are driven by emotions. Even though most people think that they approach decision-making through logic, emotions are powerful. But logic, the ability to make decisions using sound and rational thought processes, is something that may be missing from your life. So there's always this fight and this battle going on between emotions and our emotions and their influence on our decision making. Okay. All right, so let's examine both logic and emotions. So logic is, by default, a method of making decisions that uses sound and rational decision-making to find the best conclusion, okay? Emotions, on the other hand, are true feelings. If logic is the brain, then emotion is the heart. And the heart is where happiness is, okay? There's always this battle going on between logic and our emotions when we're trying to make decisions. All right, so there are some flaws to both logic and emotion, okay? So let's kind of look at those. So when we look at logic requires emotion. Logic cannot always be completed without emotion, especially with regard to decisions that affect life satisfaction. After all, relationships, jobs, and other major decisions are not always just pen and paper decisions. For example, logically, a partner may look great on paper, but they do not create feelings of love and excitement. So if so, they may not be the right partner. So those kind of decisions, okay, so requires emotion, okay, so logic, right, also requires energy. Logic isn't always a simple process. The amount of mental and physical energy that goes into a logical decision may be more than the time and attention allows. Making a logical conclusion quickly, for example, can be very difficult, okay? And if we're not careful, it can also be detrimental. Okay, so let's look closely at emotions. So emotions can lie. How you feel may not actually be what is best for you or what your heart really wants. For an example, many former partners, after they break up, feel like they missed their relationship. Some may even give in and get back together, but this can be a mistake, as missing someone, which is an emotion, is common after any relationship simply because a part of your life has changed, okay? It may also be irrational. By default, emotions are controlled by logic. Thus, you can have emotions that are completely irrational given the situation. Anxiety and depression are examples of extreme versions of this problem, okay? A lot of times when we're in difficult situations, we may be a little irrational in our thinking, and we begin to make decisions that may also create problems, okay? Because we're not using logic, we're really operating in emotion. So in addition, emotions can change the way you think and control behavior, which may mean that your logic may be affected by your emotions. This happens often to those struggling with mental health conditions like depression and anxiety, where their emotions make them think in illogical ways, okay? So which is better? Logic, emotion, which is better? In many ways, logic is better than emotion. The more you can think critically and objectively about a decision before you make it, the more likely the decision will be the best for you. The less you are driven, excuse the typo, only by emotion and instinct, the fewer impulsive or irrational decisions you should make. But you also shouldn't be without emotion. Emotion still plays a significant role in decision-making, including logical decision-making. Love and embrace your emotions but have a strong sense of logic as well. Okay. All right, so let's look at 4 helpful tips when you can't make decisions. Okay, the first one, limit your choices. Okay, having a variety of choices can leave you feeling overwhelmed. But if you can narrow down the possible options from many to just a few, this can alleviate feelings that leave you feeling stuck. Okay, the 2021 research indicates that choice overload may cause you to become stuck because it's hard to make a decision when there are so many options. For example, going to a restaurant that has 40 things on the menu, 20 different types of desserts and, 10 different types of meals. Sometimes that can be overwhelming. Your brain is overloaded, okay? It may help you make better decisions when there aren't so many options to choose from, okay? All right, helpful tip number 2, make a plan. If you have trouble making decisions, you may be spending lots of time researching possible decisions and still can't move forward. One way to overcome this is by giving yourself a specified period to explore your decision and then move forward with the information you have. This strategy can help you reduce time overanalyzing and use the best possible information to move forward. All right, helpful tip number 3, reach out to mentors or advisors. If you are struggling with a decision, one of the best sources of support can be mentors or advisors in your field. Their wealth of experiences and expertise can offer invaluable insights that you may not have considered. Don't be afraid to ask for their perspective, and remember, it's okay to disagree with their advice. It's your decision after all, okay? So this also can pertain to even in your personal, this is talks about work, our business, but it also can apply to your personal life. You may have a pastor that you may want to go to. You may have a therapist that you go and seek out advice with and kind of process the decision making process with them. And so, or you go to, a trusted friend and kind of process as you go through making this decision. But again, remember, it's okay if you disagree with their advice. It's still your decision, but it's always good to reach out to someone and process together with them. All right, helpful tip number 4, lean on your support network. Sometimes talking through a decision with friends, kind of jumped ahead, or family members can help. They might not have expertise in the area, but they know you well and can often provide emotional support and perspective. Plus, explaining your thoughts to someone else can clarify your own thinking and lead you to a decision. You ever have a question or you're pondering something and you end up talking to somebody, and as you talk to them, you're like, oh, I got my answer. All you needed to do was just kind of talk it out loud and kind of go through, clarify your own thinking. And it also helped you lead to making that decision that, again, started out to be really difficult. All right. So number 5, utilize professional resources, okay? Many organizations offer resources to assist with decision-making. This could include workshops on decision-making strategies, mental health professionals, which I mentioned earlier, or even software tools that help prioritize and weigh different options. So if you're unsure what's available, reach out to your human resources department if it's a work decision. Again, If it's a personal decision, reach out to someone who can help you process making those decisions. All right. Number 6, engage in self-care. Okay, this is super, super important. In our last session, we talked about mental health and mental wellness. And this segment is talking overall, is talking about personal development. And so a part of that is engaging in self-care. Okay, stress and anxiety can cloud decision making. Okay, so regular exercise, which we talked about in our last session, a healthy diet, and getting an adequate amount of sleep can make a significant difference. Okay, when our brain is getting what it needs, it's getting the rest that it needs from all of the work that it has put in throughout the day. Okay, don't forget to give yourself permission to step away from the decision at times to clear your mind. Sometimes we can get so focused on the decision and that headache and our brain is pounding. And we're getting more frustrated and things become all jumbled. And so sometimes it's just good to step away. Step away, take some time to do self-care, whether that's going for a walk, whether that's going for a swim, whether that's, disengaging, outside, sitting in a quiet park, or taking quiet time in your car. Sometimes just stepping away from the decision at times so that your mind can just get clear, okay? The best ideas come when you're not actively thinking about the problem. So sometimes it's a wonderful thing to step away and give your mind a break from overthinking and too much thinking, so your mind can be clear of all of that diluted thinking and make way for a more clear way of thinking, and then looking at the problem from a different perspective. All right, so number 7, practice decision making. Okay, so like any skill, decision making can be improved with practice. Start by making smaller decisions consciously and deliberately, weighing the pros and cons, seeking advice when it's necessary, and then reflecting on the outcomes. This practice will build your confidence and the capability for more significant decisions. Okay, so starting off with those small decisions. All right, so remember, it's okay to ask for help, guys. Reaching out for support is an act of strength and a step towards growth. As we navigate the labyrinth of life, let's remember that none of us are in this alone. By leveraging our networks and our resources and by caring for ourselves, we can become more adept and comfortable in our decision-making processes, okay? So that concludes our session today, you guys. Happy decision-making to you all. I hope that this information is something that you can go back and that you can replay and that you can write down and that you can use. Very, very helpful tips, especially as we're coming up upon the holiday season. And some people will have those decisions that they will have to make. Do I spend? Do I not spend? Do I overspend? Do I, underspend? Do I charge? Do I pay cash? All of these things, can we afford it? Can we not afford it? And so when this should be a joyous time, it can also be a very stressful time for people. And so decisions, are made daily. And so we want to make sure that we're understanding how we can rationally think about things in our lives, and that whole process of eventually making a good decision, and what that should look like. So again, I'm hopeful that something was shared today that was very helpful for you. And so again, I just thank you again, Mr. Eugene McCowan, again for your partnership through WeServe and partnership with Healing Hearts to Heal. We are so grateful and we're so thankful. And we're hoping that you can join us for our next session. Hopefully you'll be able to join us. I'm going to stop sharing my screen at this time so you can see my face. And so we're going to talk about our next session is going to be the first Saturday in January 2024. We're excited. And so that segment is going to be on dealing with difficult situations. Okay, so we talked about mental health and mental well-being. Today we talked about rational thinking, making good decisions. And so we're going to tackle in January of 2024, dealing with difficult situations. So again, thank you for joining us today. And we look forward to seeing you in the new year in January 2024. Thank you so much and have a wonderful, wonderful day.